to the world, I'm filming again. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would do something a little bit different and I'm going to be doing a story time. Now I've never actually filmed a story time on my channel before, and the one I've picked to film today doesn't show me off in a very morally good light. It doesn't show my moral compass very well. I have to say it's quite an embarrassing story. I'm not proud of it, but I wanted to share it with you anyway because it is funny and it is Christmas related, so I thought I would do a Christmas story time today. And today I'm going to be telling you all about the story when I sabotaged my Christmas tree and I blamed it on my cat. So to coin the famous words from Jack and Ori, are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. So let me first of all give you some context about me if you're new to my channel and you just randomly clicked on this video and you're like, who are you? Apart from the fact that my name's Emily and I am a tea lover and I'm a graduate and I love Christmas time. I am also visually impaired, so I have a severe sight impairment. I have a condition called septo-optic dysplasia and that condition affects my optic nerves, so I'm blind in my right eye and I've only got central vision in my left eye, and I have got nystagmus, so I can't focus on things very well. Let me take you back in time to when this happened. So I want to say I was about 8 years old at the time that this happened, and it was in the house that I am in now, and we had moved in very recently, and I think this probably was our first Christmas in the house that I live in now. My mum and my dad worked on the weekends. My mum worked at a counter in Clinique and she used to go to work every Saturday. At the time my dad was a mechanic, so on a Saturday he used to go to his garage in my back garden and he used to fix people's cars, and he used to do that. I usually had free reign of the house on a Saturday, which I absolutely loved because it meant I could watch TV, I could eat all the food, I could do whatever I wanted, and I wouldn't have anyone pestering me, and I loved it. Now on this particular day, it was later on in the afternoon and I was watching the show Blue Peter. Blue Peter is basically a show that is a children's TV show, and on the show they would do different things. So they would make arts and crafts, they would do competitions, they would have people on like guests to talk on the show. And on this particular day they were talking about ballet, and they were talking about being a ballet dancer and festive shows on in London. So festive West End shows that you could go and see, and the Nutcracker was on in London. I think pretty much it's on every year anyway, but at the time they were doing a feature on the Nutcracker, and they played this clip of this very talented ballet dancer dancing to one of the songs from the Nutcracker. It's a really quick, fast-paced one. It's a very famous one. You would definitely know it if you heard it. They were showing off their ballet skills to the audience. There was so many really impressive moves and I was just sat there mesmerised like, wow. And you know how it is when you're a kid, right? You go through many different stages of wanting to be different things when you grow up. So I wanted to be a vet, I wanted to be a pilot. Can you imagine how that would have gone down with my eyesight? I wanted to be a astronaut, I wanted to be a mermaid, and on this particular day it crossed my mind that I was going to be a ballet dancer, and I was going to be the best ballet dancer that ever was, and I was going to be incredible, and I was going to be on the stages of all the London theatres, and I was going to do an amazing job, and I was going to be in the Royal Opera House, and I was going to fly on the stage and show off all my moves to a clapping, applauding audience. And you know how it is, you romanticize everything in your head, and I thought to myself, I'm going to be a ballet dancer, this is what I'm going to do, this is my life's calling, this is what I'm meant to do. I fancied myself a better ballet dancer than this guy on the TV. I was like, such your moves, I'm better than you. So I got up and I started to dance. Now, let me also add that my Christmas tree was up. It was very close to Christmas. It was the weekend before Christmas and my tree was up. It had been up the entire month. Now, this tree was absolutely stunning. My mum absolutely adores Christmas and decorating her house for Christmas, and our trees in our house, if I do say so, are beautiful, especially the main tree that we have in the living room, because she spent so much time and money on that tree, and that tree literally looks like something out of a department store. It's absolutely stunning, and it stood proudly in the living room with all of its glistening lights and its hanging baubles and really personalised decorations and her handmade decorations, and looking all proud and festive and glorious and beautiful. And there I am dancing to the Nutcracker music with the tree in the background. Now I knew that the tree was in the background, I knew that the tree was there and it was a presence and it was a thing in the room and it was an entity that I could possibly collide with, but I didn't think about it. I was caught up in the moment and the glamour and the romance of the song and the music and the Nutcracker and my desire to be a ballet dancer. So I kept on dancing and dancing. I was spinning around like a spinning top and leaping around trying to mimic this ballet dancer's moves, and trying and failing, I'll add. I'm very glad no one saw me at the time because I was absolutely frightful now I think back on it. I didn't realise how dangerously close I was getting to the tree. I hadn't seen how close I was because, like I said, I've got narrow depth of field vision, so I can only see what's in front of me. So I didn't see that I was very close to the branches and they were jutting out alarmingly close to my face. And it got to a point where I did a massive leap and I lost my footing and I slid forwards, and it was like time slowed. I was like, no, no, no. But I couldn't stop myself. The tree was there. I was gonna fall. There was nothing I could do about it. I had to put my hands up to steady myself, and I collided headfirst into the tree. Crash! The tree came hurtling down to the ground. It collided with the coffee table. All the decorations went bing, 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 like went off everywhere. The plug was pulled out of the wall. The lights went off in a flash. It was absolutely horrendous. It was literally like something out of the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It was so bad. You couldn't have wrote it. It was like something out of a comedy set. It was literally the worst thing ever. But I can tell you, I was not laughing. I was horrified. So I got to my feet and I surveyed the scene, the calamity that was my Christmas tree, or what had been my Christmas tree. Luckily, because we had carpet, it didn't seem like any of the decorations had got broken, so everything had just fallen off, but it looked absolutely awful. The tree was absolutely forlorn, wonky on its side. The decorations were absolutely spewed up all over the place. It looked like Father Christmas had thrown up in my house. The decorations were everywhere, the lights had come off. It was just awful. And my heart stopped, and I realised that my mum was going to be home from work in about an hour. I couldn't lift the tree up and get it back into some seemingly normal looking appearance, so I didn't know what to do because my mum has eagle eyes, and if you move one of her decorations, she will know that you've moved it, and she will be on to you. She'll be like, what have you done to my tree, what have you done to my tree? So I didn't know what to do, so I was like, oh my god, my mother and my dad are going to kill me. And then at the same point, my cat walks in. Now my cat, alas, is not alive anymore. My cat died many years ago, but my cat was my best friend. I loved my cat. I want to make this clear. I loved my cat. My cat was my best friend. I'd had him since I was 2 years old. We had grown up together. But at this moment in time, I was desperate, and needs were needs must. I decided that I would blame what had happened on my cat. I know it's not a good thing. You should never do that. You should never blame someone else or another animal or another creature for something that you did. You should always take responsibility for your actions. I know that now. I learned that lesson. Believe me, I will never do such a thing again. I will never make that mistake again. I was young and foolish, and my moral character hadn't been fully formed. It was still forming, and I had to do something to get the blame off me. The reason I knew that this would work and it would be a viable lie was because of the fact that my cat actually used to climb up the Christmas tree all the time. So we'd go into the living room and we'd see a pair of eyes looking at us from inside the tree. He used to climb the tree all the time, and sometimes he almost knocked it clean over. So he did do that quite a lot. So what I did was I turned the TV off, I got all of my things out of the living room, I tried to make it look as if I hadn't been in there. I fluffed up the cushions. No amount of pillow fluffing would detract from the absolute horror that was the Christmas tree. I tried to make it look as if I hadn't been in there. I turned the TV off and I left the room. I left the door ajar and went upstairs to my room. I put on my earphones and pretended like I had been listening to an audiobook, and I hadn't been downstairs and I hadn't been anywhere near the tree. So about an hour goes by, and then I hear this, oh my god, what's happened? Like my mum is yelling, like what the hell has happened? I mean, there was more colourful language, but I'm not going to start yelling and effing and blinding on YouTube. I come downstairs and I put on my acting face and I'm like, oh, what the hell has happened? Oh my god, as I see this tree on the floor and try to pretend that this is the first I've heard about it. I have no idea that this had happened to that beautiful tree. And my mum said, what the hell has happened? I'm like, I don't know, I've been upstairs. And she's like, oh my god, it must have been the cat. Oh my god, the cat has knocked down the tree. She calls Dad in and shows him what's happened. He manages to get the tree back up. Mum starts to rectify the damage that's been done. All the time she is absolutely yelling her head off, and she is ranting on about what has happened to her tree and that she can't have anything nice in her house for 5 minutes because it's either me, my dad, or the animals who wreck it. Now, I keep quiet at this point. I don't say anything, and I'm just praying to God that she doesn't suss out that it's me. I also want to add that it actually wasn't the cat who got the blame for it. It was still me, because my mum said when she'd finished rectifying the damage of the tree about an hour and a half later when she calmed down and said, it must have been you, it's your fault because you must have left the door open not thinking, and the cat's gone in there and wrecked this tree, so if you hadn't have left the door open it wouldn't have happened, so it's still your fault. So I still got the blame for what happened, although I'm willing to wager everything I own it wasn't nearly as bad as it would have been if I'd have told her the entire truth, that the tree was on the floor and I sabotaged your beloved tree mother because I fancied myself a ballet dancer. The cat wasn't harmed, nothing happened to the cat. After all that had happened, I didn't come clean about it for many, many years. We had Christmas that year, it was lovely, the tree remained untouched, the tree lived to tell the tale, as did all of its decorations. And it was only last year when me and my mum were putting up the tree and having our quality streets and chatting about the Christmas events to come that I told her the truth, because she said to me, oh my god, do you remember that when James used to climb up the tree and he knocked the tree down one year? And I turned to her and I sighed and I said, Mum, it was me. And I told her the entire story and she couldn't believe that I hadn't come clean, and I blamed the events that had happened on my poor cat. The moral of this story is, my friends, do not blame other creatures, whether they be human or animal, for something that you've done. Take responsibility for your actions and own up to what you've done, and never try to fancy yourself a ballet dancer when you've not had any training at all, unlike the people who do it professionally, who've had many, many years to practice and train their bodies into becoming incredible dancers. And never dance in a room when you can't see, knowing that there is a 7-foot Christmas tree that you could collide headfirst into. And James, if you're watching me from that cat heaven of yours, I'm sorry I blamed you for what I did. There you have it, there you go, that is my Christmas story time. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it entertaining, to say the least. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one.